Hey, welcome back to Trial and Error. Where we last left off on this project, I had just crudely cut the frame of the Grand National in half, and now I need to kind of go back and get a better idea of exactly how we want to transition from the factory frame into my tubular frame, which is going to be the whole back half of it. And as I'm going through all of this, you're going to see a couple of things change. Well, first of all, I only tack things into place, and you do that for a reason, because as I progressed further into this, I realized I needed to move up the entire subframe, rear structure, basically up a couple more inches than they were, so that I would have the correct suspension geometry on the 4-link bars, so everything kind of lays out the way it's supposed to be. So you'll see midway through this, I actually end up taking the framework that I made and just lifting it up and setting it up on top of the frame so I can get those angles correct. But here we are, just going to kind of lay out the geometry of the beginning of the 4-link suspension. So hopefully now you can kind of get an idea what I'm going for here. So I put in, this is a 1/4 inch thick, this is a monster. Super strong, but what we want to do is transfer the load from this bar so that it's not just relying on this contact, which is not going to be super strong no matter what, and transfer that load up to the front half of the chassis before it goes to just the open C channel here, which isn't real strong. So that'll do two things. It'll transfer that force forward to the meat of the chassis up front. But it'll also work as almost like plating this to help stiffen the torsional strength of the chassis. So just cutting up a couple of more pieces here. They're going to kick right in between the two so we can grab that force from the center, and it will line up perfectly. That is a beautifully cut piece of steel, by the way. Toot, my own horn. We'll line it right up at the front half of that frame and really just get some good triangulation and strength, so that there's no cushion for the pushing. So after I had put those two triangulation bars in, you'll notice now the cross member is sitting up on top of the frame instead of towards the bottom of it. That was that adjustment that I had to make after I put it back down on the ground, and I took some measurements and realized that those forward links needed to be further up on the chassis to handle the 28-inch radials that are going to be on the back of the car, and I really want those radials to tuck in nice under the body. So there was a little bit of back and forth and fixing and figuring there to get it where I wanted it, but now we're off and running. This is where rotisserie would have been a handy thing to have, but you work with what you got. I got a lift, so decided I'd use the lift to try to flip the frame over, because I needed to access the bottom to clean up the old sections of frame, but also to weld the bottom side, making it a lot easier than welding upside down. I wanted to be able to weld it facing the right direction, so this actually worked out really well to flip it and then flip it back when I was done. So the frame came out great, stripped all the old, undercoating and paint and rust off of it, and got the bottom of the frame, the new section, all fully welded. And now we're back up at the front here where those bars meet the front part of the chassis, and that section wasn't boxed from the factory, so I grabbed some 1/8-inch plate and made my own little custom plating that goes in there that catches that fourth side of that bar. I just wanted that, to have a really solid and firm connection to the chassis on all four sides. So that plate kind of takes care of that. Obviously there were some areas that I couldn't get to with the angle grinder with the sanding disc on there, so unfortunately I had to grab my media blast gun, and I'm using glass shards there to the ground up glass media basically is what it is, inside the garage, which makes one a hell of a mess, but I probably should have just dragged the whole thing outside, but I was too lazy, and it actually cleaned up okay. But getting into all those nooks and crannies that really only a blast gun can get to, so that worked out good, minus the mess. With that done, I wanted to quickly get some rust proof on there and give it a quick coat of paint. just for the exposed portions of the chassis I didn't want. Just the moisture in the air is enough to start it to rust. So I don't know that this will be the final coat for it, although for the front half it very well probably is. But I did want to make sure that all that exposed metal got rust proofed and then hit with some satin black here, so that while I'm doing the rest of the work on it, I don't have to worry about losing ground to rust on the front half of the chassis. Now I got stuck waiting on parts. So the good news is I have a body to play with. So I wheeled that back into the garage. It's been sitting out for the last couple of weeks and got to work on getting that body ready to sit on what will be the new chassis. I just keep getting deeper and deeper into this thing. So I wasn't gonna do replacing the floors. I wasn't gonna deal with that if I could avoid it. But the more I look at it, the patchwork that was done just was not done well. And I'm already so far into this thing, I can't leave it like that. So I guess I'm gonna be torching out the entire floor. And the good news story of that is I don't need to replace it with steel. I think I'm just gonna do it all in aluminum. So we're gonna shave probably, I don't know, a couple hundred pounds maybe even a little more than that when you take out the cross members and all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna torch out the entire floor. So we're just gonna have the shell here. And I will then set that down over the frame, build a roll cage inside. That'll make building the roll cage a lot easier because we won't have to work around things. It'll all be wide open. And then once I get it all caged, then I can come in with the aluminum panels and we'll do the aluminum floor. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna take out the firewall and everything. We're just gonna hack everything apart and build it back with aluminum, make it nice and light. So I guess that's what we're gonna do. So it's official. I think I've taken this car apart in as many possible pieces as possible, if that's possible. Well, the good news is, as of the editing of this video, I just got a bunch of product in from Jegs and from some custom speed shops and from a few other places. So the next video, you are going to see some of the shiny stuff getting to go on this chassis, as you see here. Really nice stuff, really excited about what came in this week, and I can start really fabbing up that rear end now because I will have the case to do so. So if you have any questions, as always, make sure you throw them down in the comment section below me. I appreciate you guys watching very much. Make sure you subscribe to continue to see the rest of this build. And I don't know if there's anything more I can disassemble, but if there is, I'll find it and I'll show it on video. So appreciate you guys watching. Thank you very much. Have a great day. I will see you on the next episode.